Okay, so I've got a early gen kind of launch model Vectis here. This has got the British forged group. I've already pulled this. I'll be replacing the seals. These are the originals, so they've lasted about 2 years. I'll be cleaning out the group there. It's got a little bit of buildup, coffee oils, whatnot. And I'll be cleaning that Haynes Luber film off, as well as doing a cleaning procedure in here. All that's been pretty well documented elsewhere. However, I will be doing one new thing. You can kind of make out here in the image, there's a bit of a texture to this bore. And you can see it there at the reflection. It's fairly smooth, but if you get your thumbnail in there, it's a ripple. And that can prevent well, what we're hypothesizing is that there is added wear to the seals, which on inspection probably doesn't bear out. They look just fine. They are rounded anyways, as you look at new ones. But more than likely than not, it just doesn't seal quite as well without a smooth bore. So we're going to take the cylinder hone. It's a smaller one for brake cylinder. And we're going to smooth down those sides, and I'll try and take an image of that. So we've got the cylinder hone here. These are spring loaded. So this is the smallest size, and we pinch this together, drop it in the cylinder here. And what we'll do is we'll spin this with some lubrication, some honing oil, and we'll just go up and down this column. We still have water in here. I should maybe drain this, but if you tip this machine forward, you can see water coming through the dipper tube. So I'm gonna let that drain out a little bit just to make sure we don't get water fouling up with this. It's just not gonna be helpful. And in terms of honing oil, don't need anything special. It's just some fragrance enhanced mineral oil, but mineral oil will do the job here. It's food safe, all that. So should be a nice thing to do here after we just sprayed it with Brakleen. And then we'll want to make sure the stones get lubricated as well. I'm going to have to do that separately. Sorry, the camera paused there for a moment. Had to reset the drill. And I got a little bit of material off of these. So you can see that the chrome is kind of coming off. So threw some more oil in there, and we'll get back to some more. It feels much more typical. We can compare to up here, which you can't see that. You really have to feel it, but it's dramatically smoother down here. And it still has a roughness. It's to be expected from these stones. I could go a little bit further, but these aren't expected to be perfect in finish. So I'm going to do one more pass just just to be certain here, I'm not too worried about taking off extra material. These are flaring seals, so the fact that they flare out means we can take, and as you can tell here, I mean, we've taken off practically no material. I mean, we're talking a thousandth, if that. Just recognize that the chrome coating is going to be incredibly thin. So we're just going to work on cleaning this now. This is a little bit of soap. Yeah, now at this point you can tell it's incredibly smoother. Just pressing down on that with your fingertip, you can tell there's a massive difference on that wall. So you might still see some scoring, but you don't see these lines that you get up here. And because the group material, we don't need to worry about this rusting like you would with, say an engine. So we can move back on to seal reinstall. Okay, so we got the completed cylinder here. All the nonsense cleared out. Seals reinstalled. Cylinder honed. So effectively drop this in and get it all back together. So I've had this modification done now for about 3 weeks, and I've had this machine for probably close to 2 months. And my first impressions with it were that I was very happy. I've long had the LR24, just a wonderful benchmark and standard. But this comes in at half the price point, and arguably some features are actually kind of nicer. I find I have been drawn to this machine due to the increased simplicity, the fact that it's quieter and all those things. But one thing that was a drawback for me, and one thing that it was a bit disappointing, was it was clear that it wasn't reaching the peak pressures I was hoping to achieve. It was evident in kind of what was in the cup, right? So I was getting juicy, punchy shots. I wasn't getting quite the level of body or amount of crema that was achievable with the LR24. Crema is a controversial topic, but it was evident that this could do more, maybe with a different form factor, different spring, that sort of thing. What was not clear is that it could do more with the same everything, just modifying the cylinder bore. Again, this is only for those of you who have the British Forge group. It does not seem that this impacts the Italian group. But since doing this procedure, I've had none of those qualms, right? It's I can pull a shot on this machine that's nearly identical to this machine using the same grind size and the same everything. I'm getting much higher peak pressures, as evidenced by the relative flow rates from pre-infusion to lever up. I can't convey this in video format, and I don't have previous material that would aid, but the taste in the cup is dramatically different. For those of you who want a more traditional espresso, and who have the British group, I would highly recommend doing this. The main thing is we're working with imperfect measures. I don't have a scase. I can't tell you what the pressures are, what the peak pressure is, and all of that. But what I can observe is both what's in the cup and, when we go to lever down here, the relative flow rates. So I'm not sure where this dial is. It seems like we're a little bit on the fine side. And sometimes, since doing this modification, I've had to use the lever to aid a little bit in the pre-infusion. but that's largely because the pre-infusion is now, again, relatively lower than the peak pressure. Previously, if I saw that kind of flow from the pre-infusion, I would have a very slow running shot. And now we're getting a flow rate which I would argue is pretty close to ideal for a lot of coffees, or at least the way I like to pull them. And I would not change my dial here from the appearance of this shot. So I wish I had previous material where you could see that, because I think it's very apparent if you experience it, but you know, taste it for yourself. This is an irreversible procedure, so I would only do this and recommend it if you found that you were wanting something a little bit different from your British forged group on your Vectis. If you've tried other lever machines like this and you really like that flavor profile, then yes, I would recommend doing this. I mean, this has removed every drawback from this machine for me personally. And most days I find I just pick this up. It's nice and simple. It does everything you need to. And I'll do a different video that's comparing more the Vectis and the LR24. But I would highly recommend doing this change. At least I'm very happy that I have done it. And if any of you fit in that category, you know, just reach out if you have questions, and yeah, have at it.